need leadership from both political parties. And I don't excuse the Democrats. I mean, if you're an honest Democrat, why are you letting communists run the show in your party? If you're a Republican, why are you letting fear-based, fearful politicians, cowardly politicians run your party? And on the top of everything else, our republic is facing, so let's see what happens here. Again, and I'm going to repeat it, even though some of our friends in the Congress don't like me saying this all the time. Congress can put a stop to a lot of this. They can defund states that are abusing the civil rights of President Trump and millions of their citizens through these prosecutions or illicit efforts to take him off the ballot. They can defund and shut down the Jack Smith investigation. Frankly, they should be investigating the Jack Smith investigation. And there's going to be another funding fight later in January. So they're going to come back from their extended Christmas vacation. 2 weeks. Did you get 2 weeks off for Christmas? And there's another funding deadline, at least the first of which I think is in January 19th, right? So you're going to see all these Republicans in the House criticize what's going on with Jack Smith or what's going on in Maine and Colorado, yet they'll do nothing in terms of the power of the purse to restrain federal funding for that. In the case of Jack Smith, they could shut it down completely by denying funding for that operation. The states, it would be more indirect. They would say, we don't want any part of it, and we're going to pull back federal funding because of your abuses, or tie federal funding to your respect for the Constitution and the civil rights of President Trump. To deny Trump access to the ballot and the American people access to vote for the person of their choice in a lawless fashion. Why would we? Of course, Congress has a positive obligation to ensure no tax dollars are going towards that abuse. And similarly, why are they funding the invasion? Speaker Johnson has been calling out on Twitter and elsewhere President Biden's invasion. I'm sure you've been watching the news. I mean, even the mainstream media is covering the deluge, the flood of aliens illegally crossing the United States, numbers never seen before in American history, numbers never seen before in the history of humanity. Millions crossing the border. And then we use our tax dollars to fly and bust them throughout the land and settle them all over the place. They just released the most recent numbers for the last fiscal year. I guess the fiscal year goes through the end of, was it the beginning of October or the end of October? It's October to October, right? Of the 2.5 million encounters at the border, the southern border, the Biden administration has only deported 5.7% of them. That's how I analyze the numbers. And since October, obviously there's been another, I think there's been another 2 million or so since October. I mean, I've seen various numbers to how many have flooded across the border since Biden's come in, 10 million, 6 million, 7 million. I don't know exactly what the number is. But it's an astronomical number, and Congress is just whistling past the graveyard on it. And the Republican-controlled House fully funded the Biden operation that allows these people to come across the border. They can change the law, change the funding mechanism to prevent the use of monies to fund the invasion. Now you say, well, how can they do that? It's only one house of the Congress that the Republicans have control of. Yes, but unless that house votes to fund the government or an agency, that agency can't operate. That's the leverage that the Republicans in the House or at least the leadership, has refused to exercise to save the country. Our country is going to be lost. I mean, our republic is under attack in so many ways. And many of our friends complain about it on the Hill, but are funding it. You know, part of Judicial Watch's work is to work with Congress where we can. We provide them information, the material that we get, and encourage them to do the right thing, you know, as best we're able. But you can see why Congress is just not something I enjoy dealing with, because I know what they can do, what they refuse to do. They're always impressed that Judicial Watch is able to get the documents that we are able to get, which is great. I mean, we get documents Congress often can't get. But their competitive advantage with Judicial Watch is shutting the whole thing down. You don't give us the documents, we'll shut you down. You violate the law, we'll shut you down. All Judicial Watch can do is put it on a silver platter saying, this is what's going on, what are you going to do about it? So I'm done. I'm done covering and excusing, not that I really ever did, but I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do it. When Congress does the right thing, I'll praise them. And when they do the wrong thing, I'm going to criticize them, no matter who's running the show. And right now, the Republicans running the House are failing the American people. We have an invasion that they've fully funded. We have this attack on our fundamental freedoms, our civil rights, and our election systems through the Biden Justice Department as Democratic Party allies that they fully fund. Mass censorship that they fully funded. You name it. The Defense Department funding, they just funded the Defense Department fully. No check on the attack on our system on the attack on our military by the cultural Marxists who are running the military, trying to alienate our troops from the country that they're supposed to be defending. Misusing tax dollars to kill unborn children, or mutilate troops and their family members through this transgender extremism. That's a major project at the Defense Department, fully funded by Republicans in the House. Just to be clear, Republicans. So Judicial Watch you should know, is independent. We're nonpartisan. The left doesn't understand. Well, Judicial Watch, you're conservative and you say you're nonpartisan. Well, it's because when someone says that, they're ignorant. Nonpartisan means we are not affiliated with a party. We're independent of political parties. So we need leadership from both political parties. And I don't excuse the Democrats. I mean, if you're an honest Democrat, why are you letting communists run the show in your party? If you're a Republican, why are you letting fear-based, fearful politicians, cowardly politicians run your party? If you're patriots, you need to step up and let people know what you think. And you provide the leadership through your God-given First Amendment rights to petition your government that the left is trying to destroy. And you don't want to exercise those rights now, you may not have them a year or 2 or 3 or 4 from now because they've been decimated. So you can be sure Judicial Watch will keep on doing what we do to ensure the government isn't corrupt, uncover what the government's up to, stop it where we can through litigation. But it's a big job, and our councils of government need to step up. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.